hands palm up and just let the energy wash over you and through you.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, I know I was having a week off. Not a... It's a week off. It's a week off. I am still really tired, but... well, kind of there's three reasons, right? Three reasons why. Number one, I don't like having too many of the demo drop submissions left for too long, because I find that people, you know, have maybe even made amendments to the track and they don't want the old version being played. So there's that. God, it's a bit bright in here, isn't it? My face looks washed out. It's a bit better. The other reason is I miss you lot when I'm not doing this. Yeah, I do. I honestly do. And I know how much it... Come on! I know how much it helps people. I was just talking about it in another stream, because today I've just been watching other people's streams on Twitch and, you know, showing some support. And I've just mentioned to a couple of people now about the show, which they weren't aware of it. So that kind of prompted me to get on and just go and get like half as many from the emails as I usually do. Hi, Bashad. Don't use the anime borders and stuff like that in this stream because they won't work, because they've got... do you know what? I could just put them on. It's only a case of me moving them into this thingy. Hang on, one sec. Let me just sort this out, because I know otherwise you're going to lose all your channel points. And
oh my god!
Oh, Danny, thank you. And there's a third reason why as well, which I'll get to in a minute. So it's those ones, isn't it? Okay. I need to sort out my OBS scenes. So if I bring those over to the only ones that won't work are when you're trying to change the scene to like Street Fighter or the sound alerts won't work. The only ones that will work are the ones where you will have like things coming up on the. Should I really do this? Do you know what? I'm not going to put them on. And the reason why is because this show then gets exported to YouTube. And I know that people like to use little bits from the show so that it promotes their music for them. So for them, I think I'm just going to leave off all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, just don't use any of the channel point things for this show. They work for the other one though. Hi, Bosky. Yeah, and the third reason is it's a little bit to do with the fact that it's 22:02:22 today. Like, what's going to happen? Like, is it going to be like when it was the year 2000 and everyone thought that their computers were going to spontaneously combust? Yeah, exactly, Richie. They don't want like this show's more for that, really, isn't it? It's not really for the silliness of the Amber D. You know, whatever. What do I do? DJing. Thanks. Thank you. So yeah, this show's more for the, you know, it's more about you guys as artists. Richie says nothing's going to happen. Yeah, but it might. You know, especially when it's 20. Oh my God, I've just looked at the time. It's 20:02. Ah! Fuck. Ah! Oh my God! I could not have made that up, even if I tried to. Fuck. See what I mean? Oh, well, yeah, exactly. How excited. It was because I was going to say, like, I wanted to be around people at 22:22, not thinking that we've just gone to a 20:02. Like, oh! Fucking hell. Well, it's synchronicity, isn't it? I'm a big believer in that. It doesn't mean anything, but what it does, well, it does mean something. It means something to me. It basically means everything is where it should be and you're in the right place. So, you know, like people talk about, they call them angel numbers or awakening code, 1111, that kind of thing. Like, I like to believe stuff like that. However, I'm extremely logical in my belief systems, but I still am a spiritual person as well. So, for example, this 1111 thing, it's a really good starting point for people to get more in tune with their surroundings, use your intuition more. You know, and there's obviously the physiological, biological aspect of when I looked at the time there, that we do have a very, very good inner clock, sync clock, if you will. That's why we wake up at the same time. But yeah, it was still pretty funny, wasn't it? It was still pretty spooky. But yeah, we're going to listen to a few people's things. And if that happens, your inner clock is breaking. It's not, babes. It's not. Promise you. You're in the right place. TikTok. So I've just literally, really quickly, just gone into my emails and picked the come on, brain, hang on, I'm just calibrating. I've picked the oldest emails left, so I've started from the oldest back. So if you just recently sent one, they won't be in there. So I've got Turbo Terrier, JLF, CK, Base 22, Al Roberts and Mr. DJ today. So let's get on with it. But yeah, I did want to just pop on. Okay, so first up we've got Turbo Terrier.
it's not.
Okay, guys, so that was Turbo Terrier and Tanked Up. So, is Turbo Terrier in? I can't remember who it actually is. Oh, now I stink of deep heat. Here, yay! I thought you were. I thought I saw the name. Okay, guys. Turbo Terrier is on SoundCloud. 404 followers right now. Here is their link. Go and give them a follow, please. So, anyone got anything they want to share about this track? What I think about it is... Hang on. You've got a tune here called Doing Your Granny's Bits. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to listen to this one as well now because it's called Doing Your Granny's Bit and I need to know what it sounds like.
Stroll back to my granny's bit out, nipped 5 pubs, poked a 45-year-old woman, smashed all the old teeth.
Did we listen to this before? Is that why I'm finding it funny? Because I'm remembering a memory.
Yeah. 5 pods put the 45-year-old woman splashed on a young teen.
Okay, so we did listen to this one before, didn't we? Okay, so we go back to the one before that. The one that you want us to critique today, Tanked Up. So it's good that we've just done that because we've got a bit of comparison there. It's like you definitely, well, both of them were in the same key for start off. They both, you've definitely got a sound. Which is really, in my honest opinion, getting a sound is probably most of the battle won. I personally, I find it really difficult to hone in on the sound or be at one with my sound or be at peace or comfortable or, you know, stick to one. But you've definitely got one. A memory about your granny's bits. Maybe. I do have a memory, actually, of my granny. Like, she got changed in front of me when I was visiting as a child. And I remember thinking, oh, my God, what is all that stuff that you're wearing? And because she's a very, very upper middle class lady, my granny. And she won't mind me telling the story because she's dead now. But basically what happened was... she took off her skirt, and it was a long skirt, you know, one where you just see a bit of ankle. And hi, Gary. And basically, she was wearing like things called, there was stockings and suspenders, but not like sexy ones. And then like this band, like this belt around here, and then it had like hooks on it. And they would hold up the stockings and then big pants. And I'm thinking, oh, like, what? Have we got to wear these kinds of things when we get older? And it was just a lot of engineering for tights, you know? I just remember thinking, what's the... Oh, like... It was the hardest wank of my early teen years. Like, it really was. But yeah, I think maybe that is exactly what you were getting at there. It was a memory about my granny's bits. It must have been. So yeah, older people used to dress proper. My granddad used to put on a suit and tie to sit and watch TV. Exactly. This is the problem I'm having. Now, this is why I have a bad wanker's shoulder. It really is. It's just getting more and more difficult to find stuff. You know? No? Okay, I've gone off topic now, haven't I? Right. Okay. Where were we? Okay, so it's really important to have a sound, and you definitely got it. You do remind me a bit of Bosky. Bosky's Stop It Now. I'm sorry because that was my fault, but you know what I'm like, and I'm overtired as well. So, yeah, we'll stop doing that now. But yeah, you remind me of Bosky quite a lot with your style. I just think now it would be really good for you to work on the mix down. Work on shaping the sounds a bit more. Not really anything needs to be done in terms of the structures there and the arrangement, the composition. Like, you're choosing the right sounds for this style of music as well, which is really, really important, guys. Like, it's more important than you think to choose the right sounds or to use the right samples to make any kind of music authentic, especially with hard house, because it can quite easily just sound really watered down, just fast EDM if you don't. So, MRI samples. I can't wait till you do that, mate. Bosky, are you saying have you done that MRI scan thing? Have I got it? Okay. Well, in this case, just for that one tune, because it has got a really important some important context around it. I'm just going to write a note now to find it when we play the next tune. But yeah. You do remind me a lot of Bosky's earlier stuff. And maybe, you know, if you ask Bosky nicely, he might tell you, you know, the kinds of things he's done to improve getting the sounds to come through, have their own space sonically. This is a good time to talk about a new plugin that I've started using, which is called Sideminder. So it's a mid-side, well, it's a stereo widener plugin, but the point of it is that you can't overdo it. So, you know, for a lot of the time, I would be really, really reserved in trying to use mid-side EQ or even stereo widening anything, because I'm always really scared that I'm going to lose the main impact of any of the, you know, the sound that I'm using. But this Sideminder, it does all that literally for you. You can put it on like a bus channel or even the master if you know what you're doing. But yeah, I just wonder if anyone else in the chat has used it. But yeah, basically little things like that will help to bring the overall quality of this track up a little bit. It's literally, we're talking about the last few percentages of improvement when we get to this sort of stage. But don't change much about what you're doing, because you definitely have a really good sound here. JLS says, sound interesting, go and have a look later. Please do. Remember as well that a lot of my recommendations come from the man himself, Mr. Guyver, because he tries out loads of new stuff, and then he's like, oh, have you seen this new plugin? I'm like, shut up, like, what is it? Just in case. And, you know, especially if it's something that's really easy to use, then it's definitely worth having a go with. But I've bought it and I'm trying it out at the moment on stuff, and I really like it. So, yeah. So there you go. See, Bosky has been very kind there and said a message anytime. I really do think it will help. Okay, next up we've got JLF. Bosky, can you just put in the chat when you sent me the MRI song so I can find it? Nah. Thank you. Okay. Right.
The vibe was out of this world. The vibe was out of this world. The vibe was out of this world. And then suddenly, he turns up with his crew, trying to be all cool. You know what? Can somebody please get him out of here? The vibe was out of this world. The vibe was out of this world. And then suddenly, he turns up with his crew, trying to be all cool. You know what? Vibe. The vibe was out of this world.
So that was Out of This World by JLF. Mate, you should be really proud of yourself. Your stuff's just been getting better and better. Again, you're another person that's found their sound and is, you know, you'll know yourself where your main improvements are. I get excited now when I get music from you, music from Bosky, you know, and I've seen the improvements myself with you guys in the last year, 2 years. And I honestly do believe that it helps that we're checking in on shows like this. And I really do hope, I think that other people are going to be start to do these kinds of shows as well. Because it helps us to be accountable for finishing our music. It gives us the very important dopamine release of someone else has heard it and affirmed it. You know, even if it's not straight away, if there's things that can be improved on, when we improve on that and we listen back, we'll get another dopamine hit, you know, from the reward system on, yeah, you've now improved in that area. And it's sometimes not that easy to do that when it's just you, especially in the early days when you're very, very, very keen to get things finished, and then you put them up on SoundCloud straight away without letting your ears have a rest. And then you go back the next day and you're like, oh shit, like I can hear something in that needs changing, and you take it back down again, but it's already out there then. But it's important that, you know, sometimes we don't just put it out there straight away, get other people to listen to it, come on this show, see what others think of it. So I use demo drops as a deadline that pushes me to get shit done. Do you know what? That's a really good way of using it. And again, it felt right for me just to come on and at least go through a few tunes today, because I don't like missing this show, because I know it's important for us all. RFG Official says, DJ Tracid, but you're not Kai Tracid. Kai was in here. He does follow my channel. And he came in, when was it, last week or the week before? So he is around. But that would be really cool, wouldn't it? I'll see if I can get hold of him and tell him to send in his music, and then we can critique it. Like, it's all right, but oh my god! But yeah, he is super, super cool. He's a really, really nice guy. I relate to him a lot, especially with his frustration sometimes at, you know, the way that the scene is. You know, he is a fucking legend, man. He's an absolute legend. And, you know, I can tell how frustrating it can be sometimes that things aren't always equal, and there are certain people who gatekeep in the music industry and all that kind of thing. But do you know what? I think sometimes we just have to separate ourselves from that and do our own thing. We really do. He is one of the best. He really is. He's got nothing to prove to nobody. Nothing at all. And you know what? I mean, I'm going to be getting Guy to come on the demo drop to give you guys a bit more of a bit more inspiration. You know, with Guy being someone who's been around as long as Kai. Because I love the way that Guy does things. Guy does everything on his own terms. He does his Kickstarter albums himself. He releases them himself, which means he keeps all of the money from them. His first one, he got him around 10,500 £10,500. And the second one that he's just doing now is around about the same. So, but, you know, he plays his own game with his own rules. He doesn't put none of it goes out on digital download sites, anything like that. Thank you, JLF. Yet he's still managing to stay relevant, and he's awful at social media. He really he doesn't do any of that. I mean, granted, he came into it a long time ago, and you know there was relatively less producers around, but you know, it just goes to show that you can do this without having to buy your way to the top, have an agent. Honestly, all you need is 100 true fans, right? 100 true fans that will spend... So if 100 true fans spent £100 on you in a year, that's a bit of merch and maybe your album. That is... What's 100 times? That's £10,000, is it? I'm so bad at maths. And I'm really tired. £10,000, is it? Is that right? Yeah, 10k. And that's just 100, just having 100 fans. You can easily get that. Promise you. Promise you. So when you think about it like that, then don't worry about having to get on an agency or getting signed to a label that's going to take half of your money, and then you're constantly trying to appease and please that label. Do your own thing and have your own vision, because I promise you now, in the very near future, people are going to get completely fed up of the paint by numbers, generic, kit music that is out there, you know, because everyone's following the same ideas, and you know it's really important that you don't get too bogged down in all that or think that you have to be like that. Do it, you know, try it out, but you know it's important to do it yourself. Drew Clute is a very good example. Like his music is something that there's not anything that I can say or improve it on here or there, because he's so sure of what his vision is with things. I just like listening to his music now. So, and AFOT's another example. But yeah, it's good to have the experience of being on a label, I guess, and because it does give you some kind of affirmation that you're professional, of course. But get yourselves on Bandcamp, get yourselves on Twitch, do a production stream, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, build it and they will come. Exactly. It doesn't need to be too polished. Passion and what one uniquely creates from her heart is what matters, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. I get so inspired by doing these streams. I really do. Hi, Carl and Cheryl. How you doing? But yeah, JLF, I have nothing to add in terms of any improvements that could be made. But a few people were commenting on, you know, the style of this and like the feel of it. So if we just go back to it very quickly before we move on. So it's got that groove to it, hasn't it? It's got that, like a few people said, it's got that untidy groove to it. Then we've got the break here with the pianos. Coming into crescendo. Now, do you notice anything about this track, guys? Something really, really significant and quite important to this style. And that is that it doesn't come away from the root note. It's all on. All the way through. That bass note is all on the root note of the track. All the way through. And the reason for that is it keeps the power and it keeps the drive. And it gives you this kind of hypnotic feel to it. And that's something that sometimes might not be very obvious, but it's actually very important. And you'll find this a lot with techno as well, you know, to get that hypnotic groove kind of going. Hi, Sam. Yeah, it sounds fresh, doesn't it? It's really good. Really, really good. Right, so moving on. Okay, so we're going to do Bosky's song next. I'll give you a little bit of context to this. I hope that Bosky doesn't mind me giving this context. I need to check first. Bosky, are you there? Can I give some context to this? Or shall we just play it? Go for it. Okay, so Bosky's gone for some tests and it looks like he might have, is it MS? I don't know a lot about MS. I have another friend who has MS, but he's been having some tests to see if he does indeed have it. And being the amazing person that he is, and having a way of seeing things that I do as well, which is to find a positive hidden intention in everything. So instead of like being like, oh, woe betide me, he goes and gets his MRI scan, and then he sent me a message going, oh, fucking hell, I've had this MRI scan. He explained the situation, and then he's like, have you heard the noises that come from these machines? I was like, no. And he was like, then he sent me a link to the noises from an MRI scan, like someone's just uploaded them to YouTube. And I listened, I was like, oh my God, like this is just, I was like, I can't find anything musical in this, but like, well done. He was like, no, but I'm going to use it in a track. And I was like, do you know what? Go for it, mate. Go for it. Because that is owning a very scary situation and turning it into something beautiful. It's alchemy. It's, you know, that's exactly what we're here to do. It's not to mope or be a victim. And yeah, that's what he went and did. So shall we have a listen to it? I know I'm a weirdo, but that's why you're here, isn't it? We're all weirdos. If you're not, get out and do some normal stuff. What are you doing here? Right, here we go. This is Avant-Garde.
Power. picture is taken with a giant magnet. And the magnet is actually measuring what hydrogen ions are doing in the water in the brain. The MRI machine measures the rate at which these molecules move around, and running it through fancy computers, it comes up with images of normal tissue and molecules move around.
And yeah, just to confirm, the whole thing was made out of MRI samples. It's kind of like it's like an assignment based, like at uni we get given assignments like this where we have to make sounds from scratch, or use one sample for everything. And it's very, very good practice to do this because it limits what you've got, and limitation breeds creativity. So we're in an age now where we've got 16 gigabyte 32 gigabyte of RAM computers, so much memory, so much storage space, so many VSTs. Your DAWs can have infinite amounts of mixer channels, plugins. You've got patches that you can make, patch presets. You can do Max for Live stuff in Ableton. So your possibilities are now only confined by what you can imagine to do. And that is very, very overwhelming. Very overwhelming, I find. And I'm sure a lot of you will relate. So what ends up happening is nothing, because we freeze, or our idea for a track loses its point or its theme. So having a little idea like this allows you to rein yourself in and get the job done. Gav says, makes it sound raw but really creative. It's very creative. And from the mental health point of view, and you guys know how into talking about mental health I am, this is a very good way of reframing a very scary situation. So for Bosky and anyone else who's had an MRI scan, I know Tony T's just said about it there as well, this can be quite a traumatic experience. And something that you can do called NLP, NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So if you've had a traumatic experience, you can basically reframe it It's called reframing. So, and this is a really good example, a really good way of somebody naturally finding a way to reframe what they've been through. So yeah, well done, mate. I lived it. I just lived all the... I think you did make it sound musical. Oh. Drew Clute says, now waiting for someone who submits a live jam made with only hardware. There is a few people I know who do that. Satek's one of them. But yeah, it's the thing is, all I'm worried about, or all I care about, is that you guys are being creative. I don't care how you do it. It's really not important. The fact, as long as it's your work though, you know, as long as you're doing it yourself and you're not just, you know, using other people's music. Samples are fine, obviously. Gav can do acoustic spoons. Oh, wow. That's amazing that you can do acoustic spoons. Do you know what? I keep saying this, but I need to get this done at some point. Where is it? Ah, here it is. See, I started years and years ago on this. Can't see it because of my... Dance EJ sound collection. Over 7,500 in wave. It sounds in wave format. And I keep saying that I'm going to do a stream where we'll make one of these tracks, but at the moment it's not happened still, but we'll get there. So like I said, it doesn't matter what you make it on, as long as you're doing it. I can ask Darklight to submit one of his tracks. Yes, please. That'd be brilliant. Do you know what you should ask him as well? Ask him just to send us like one with the video as well, so we can see what he's doing, because I'm sure everyone will have a lot of questions. I know I will. I'm looking at doing some more performance-based stuff. Like I use my 303 TD3 on my DJ sets now, and very soon I'm going to be going for some extra lessons. DJ Lemmy Keith, thank you for subscribing, mother liquor. I'm going to be... That's 12 months now, babes. Yay! So yeah, like we can always learn something from someone else's methods. Always. Really, really important. Do you know what really, really gets my goat? For anyone that isn't English, that means, do you know what really winds me up? No, that's another metaphor. What makes me angry is when you have conversations with people and it goes a bit like this. So what do you use then? What DAW do you use? I use FL Studio. Why you use FL Studio? Like that's like what, Fruity Loops? That's like that's not a real DAW though, is it? You know, you should use Ableton, or the worst one would be like, oh, you should use Pro Tools like me, or you should use Logic because I use that. It really annoys me. Can you do a stream on you using the TD3 in detail? Yes, I can. I keep saying that I'm going to do a YouTube tutorial explaining how I sync it up and get it to work with my setup. It's very, very simple. There was no other tutorials on YouTube. I did figure it out myself, but yes, I will do, of course. But yeah, Fruity Loops, isn't that a kid's cereal? I know, but people do think that FL Studio is a lesser DAW to use. Now the reason behind that was because many years ago, FL Studio Fruity Loops, as it was then called, it wasn't that great. It's always been made to make repetitive dance music because it's the only one that has this come on brain, pattern mode. It's got pattern mode, and the pattern mode on it is a little bit like a drum machine, I guess, and then you can build up your patterns. Good for people that do beats, like for hip hop, that kind of a thing. But they still have pattern mode in there, but it's now extremely similar to, if not exactly the same audio engine as all of the others. Reason's a different kettle of fish. I never got on with Reason. I found it quite difficult due to the patch bay stuff on the back. We use Reason 5 and still make magic happen. That's brilliant. That really is. Again, it's whatever you're used to. So, yeah, it is confusing. Thank you. It really is. Like, you have to, once you get your head around it, I'm sure it's very natural. And then what happens is when you're used to using a certain DAW, trying to use another one can be so clunky and it feels like you've gone back to the start again. So for me now, I can use Ableton and I can use FL Studio. I'm very fluent in FL Studio. There's very little I don't know about FL Studio. And I've now got to the point where I've made my own delay plugin in Max for Live in Ableton. However, I don't know, it's changing for me at the moment. The reason why I am using Ableton is for uni stuff, but I'm very, very quickly realising why Ableton is so good, because workflow-wise, it's fantastic. It really is. But yeah. Right then, let's move on to the next one. But yeah, well done, Bosky. Love that. Next up, we have got CK, which I think is Kieran, and I think I saw Kieran in here, and this is called Stranger Danger. Where's my thingy? There we go.
Don't talk to strangers online.
Yeah, I really like that. I actually do like the vocal. I think you might have put a bit too much reverb on it, but then again, maybe it needed it to fit into the track. I like the accent. Don't talk to strangers online. I love the way that it said. It's obviously an American safety video. Yeah, hang on, let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure it is. One sec. Yep, that's the one. So, Sideminder. Don't really, like, you won't need to change any of the settings really on it. The only one that you'll want to change is the one in the middle, which is the static width adjustment. Best thing to do would be to like lock them so that you're moving them all at the same time, and then just move them to the right, and then and just see how it sounds. But you can't overdo it with this one. It's kind of like parallel processing. So, but yeah, that's the Badger. Okay, so back to this tune. It's got some really good elements to it. It had a moment when we got to the...
Don't talk to strangers online.
It's got a moment there. That is a moment there. Now, it takes until then for that to come in. So it's not in the first section. I reckon you could put that in the first section and then have another sound repeating the same pattern, but maybe an octave higher or an octave lower. And then add a bit of movement. So like a phaser effect through it. Maybe like a bandpass filter through one of the layers, something like that. I think that would really bring it to life. If you want more tension on the build-up, then there's a very good plugin for that, which we talk about all the time on this channel. And it's called Endless Smile. And it's by Dada Life. Endless Smile. So basically what Dada Life have done, I think, is they've kind of like made their own like Max for Live or like Patcher or whatever it is, but in their own plugin, which has got a certain number of effects which are connected to parameters which will change in amount from 0 to 100 based upon one knob that you move from left to right. So basically it's doing a few things. So it takes the need to have to do this yourself. And a few of the things that are good for adding tension are adding reverb, tail, feedback, adding filter, dry versus wet, or 100, or 0 to 100, but it does it all in one plugin for you. So usually what you'd have to do to get all of these effects usually would be on whatever channel it was that you were doing it on. So like if you were doing it on your bus group for your synths, you'd need to put in a reverb on your bus with an automation from nothing up to 100, to start getting that kind of like the tension there and the build up. And then the same with a filter. What else has it got in it? It's got a few different settings, but it just makes it easier to get that certain effect that it would probably take quite a long time in doing on your own. There you go, the link's there. Hi Martin. But there are a few different presets on there, and they're all really good. I mean, I can tell because I know most of the presets on there. I can tell when someone's used it. M Series uses it a lot, but I'm telling you now, no one cares. And because it's kind of set in the background, it's not obvious. And you can also use it a little bit or a lot. But honestly, it's a great tool. If you're someone like me that struggles getting tension before the drop. Am I getting a spot there? No. I have eaten loads of chocolate today and I didn't even know I was doing it. It was the kids' chocolate as well. Now I'm going to get spots tomorrow. Fuck, I'm going to have to tell Guy to hide the rest of the chocolate because I know where it is. And the naughty D will go and find it at probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. It's terrible. Having to hide shit from myself. Hi, Red Queen, Rhonda. Yeah, but this Fizzy Pops, it's the wonderful stuff that's got aspartame in it. So it's calorie free. But I might die of cancer. Ooh. Oh, fuck's sake, honestly. But yeah, I'm gonna have to hide the chocolate now. But yeah, I really like this track. I really like this track, and I think it could definitely be really good with a few little tweaks. And I'd like to hear more from you, Kieran. So please make sure you send in other stuff as well. And yeah, I love this, and I love the vocal. You're very welcome, mate. And yeah, thank you for being brave enough to let us have a listen to it, because I know how difficult it can be. I really enjoyed it. Okay, next up we've got Bass 22, and this is Dub Shop.
Welcome to the Dub Shop. Welcome to the Dub Shop. Welcome to the Dub Shop. Welcome to the Dub Shop. Welcome to the Dub Shop. Welcome to the Dub Shop. Welcome to the Dub Shop.
Wow. Okay, so that was Base 22 Dub Shop. We will get to talking about that in 1 second. Massive thank you to Kutski for that amazing raid. How are you doing, mate? And welcome in raiders. Guys, if you're not already following Kutski, please go and follow him right now. I'm part of Keep the Rave Alive. So yeah, welcome guys. This is the demo drop that we do every Tuesday where we listen to your music and or your unfinished tracks, and we help to get you to the next level of your production journey. So we just listened there to Base 22 Dub Shop. I really like this tune. I think it has real good potential. I'm not sure on the vocal, because the vocal, I found it quite difficult to hear what the vocal was saying. So, we just finished a promo show. Brilliant. That's perfect then. So, Base 22's in as well. Shout out to Base 22, please. The vocal, I couldn't hear what it was saying. I thought it was saying, welcome to the dungeon, but it said, welcome to the Dub Shop. Usually as a rule, like if you're going to use a vocal like that, try and have it as clean as possible. So you could swap that out if you wanted to. Someone said about one of the Hoover sounds. Yeah, it was chopped from something. Yeah, someone said one of the Hoover sounds could do with some reverb. Let's have another quick listen to it again. So I disagree. I think it was Drew Clute who said that. I disagree. I think sometimes the Hoovers need to be up front. Now, there's a little trick that you can do when it comes to a sample, if you don't want to add reverb, or when you are adding reverb, you're finding that it's setting it too far back, or you're losing the punchiness of the transients. Instead, you can go into this sample, and so if you've got your ADSR, attack, delay, sustain and release. Now you'll get a similar effect if you, on your volume envelope, if you increase the release. So instead of putting a reverb on the channel of that Hoover and trying to do it that way, you can just bring out the release of the sample itself, and you will get the effect of it having a bit of a reverb tail there. That's called shaping your sound. It's really, really helpful to learn to do that, especially if you're into like making techno and making up your own percussion drum loops and stuff. I love doing all that. I absolutely love doing all that. So just need some compression on the Hoovers, says M Series. Yep, maybe that'll bring it out a bit. But yeah, there's a few ways that you could do that. You could maybe even try using an expander on it. You know, there's so many ways that you can do it. But yeah, a compressor, I guess, would help with the initial punch of it, and also you could change the release time on that so that it's a little bit more. It has a bit more of a more dynamics, should we say? But yeah, I really liked it. Really, really liked it. It's got some great moments in it, and I did really like the Hoovers. So there we go. Well done. So yeah, guys, I am currently still recovering from doing a 26-hour live stream on Friday to Saturday. I tried to beat my current record of doing a live stream for 62 hours. So my record is a 62-hour live stream, and I wasn't feeling it this weekend. I managed to do 26 hours. Oh yeah, it's the opposite of 62. Yay! But you know what? And I think a lot of the reason is I'm using a lot of this deep relief stuff at the moment. And the morning that I was starting the stream, I opened up one of my clothes drawers to put some clothes away, and I twinged my back. Is it 62.5? Oh, brilliant. Yay. I twinged my back, so I was starting on a deficit of feeling like not completely well. And I also went out to trade the weekend before. So, and I didn't want to risk making myself feel, worse, but it was a really fun 26 hours. And from now on, when I do a subathon, I'm not going to try and do anything to try and beat that record. I feel my comfortable record will always be 62 hours. But I love doing long streams like that because I find them so funny. I like having a bit of sleep depth. So, and because we only did the 26 hours, I remember all of the fun stuff. I remembered having a big giggle about Jesus jigsaws, which I then went and researched, and you can actually buy a Jesus jigsaw. So that's what I want now. Pulled a Zora on that. Yeah. Get a robot shiatsu massager. I've got 2. I have one for my back, and I have one that you put your feet into as well. And I also have got these things now. Look at that. Look, it's not a butt plug. It's definitely not a butt plug. You put this on the wall, right? And then you put your shoulder into it, and it's like a trigger point thingy. So now I'm getting to that age now where I'm getting like muscle cramps and needing to use these things. And I think next time I'll probably try and stretch a bit more. Is Brady here? Oh dear. But yeah, so we're doing, it does look like a butt plug, but it's not. I always use the door frame. Ooh, tennis balls are good as well. But there you go. Okay, so our last one for today is Mr. DJ, and this is Lutronic. Okay, guys, so that was Lutronic and Mr. DJ. So a few things that I think could be improved here are the levels. These are really good mix down. There is an acid line in there as well that needs to have its own place. At the moment, everything's kind of like crashing into each other sonically, frequency-wise. And everything needs to have its own space a bit more. So thank you for following, Loisy. Hi. Hi. Pianos could be louder. Yeah. The acid line in there is getting lost as well. This could be down to a few things. I am guessing that improper gain staging has probably made it difficult to get the levels right. Either gain staging too low. Or not gain staging at all and then finding everything peaking and then having to like bring it down or stick a limiter on the master, which is kind of like glued everything together and not giving it its space. It sounded like it was a false note when the second line came in on the piano. It sounded like it was a false note. Do you mean like a note that was out of key? No, that if it's that bit that you mean, the da 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 da, that's just called a leading note. So it leads back into the first chord, which is on the root note of the track. But yeah, it does make musical sense. But that's because it's probably because it's from either a MIDI pack or it's a sample. Yeah, it sounds a bit rigid. I'm pretty sure that it will be because that is from a sample of piano chords. And the problem with using these, guys, is you're stuck to that chord progression. So then anything else in your track needs to work around that chord progression. So all it is it's literally only going up a semitone, but it's creating a leading chord, which then goes back into the first chord the next time round. It could have sounded better if it didn't go up and it was just on the root note, on the root chord. But yeah, this is something that will be a problem if you're just using piano sample packs. If you've got the MIDI, then you've got more opportunity to get that chord to sound good with the rest of your track, because you can then obviously move the MIDI notes. But when you're first starting out, using a piano sample is probably the easiest way to do things, because it will probably sound better in terms of, like, you know, trying to find a piano that you like in a synth or whatever, and then adding your own compression and probably reverb and stuff. But it will limit your possibilities with the rest of the track. If the hi-hat comes in even a quarter beat before it does, it would blend so much better. If the hi-hat comes in even a quarter. No, they sound fine. They sound absolutely fine to me. Maybe a bit of movement would be good. So maybe a bit of groove, bit of swing, some ping pong delay would help, that kind of a thing. So they're all things to possibly think about, but they're all good suggestions, guys. Keep them coming. As someone who is really affected and focuses on frequency, when things are even a tad off, it's really distracting. I'm the same. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. It comes for me from having a classical background with piano. I used to hate anything that was detuned or not in the harmonics of the scale that it was in. It took a long time for me to unlearn all of that. I'd bring the acid up an octave. Cool. I agree wholeheartedly, actually, because it is getting a bit lost. But yeah, I think there are some really good ideas with that. Also, the kick sounds like it's very thumpy and it's not been tamed at all. You could probably put an LFO tool on that and it would give a lot more room for your percussion to come through. because that kick at the moment is boomy and it's taking over most of the frequency range in that spectrum. If it's a bit shorter and maybe a little bit higher in frequency, that would help the balance of the rest of your instruments. But yeah, keep up the good work. I hate having to do this sometimes because people be like, no, there's so many things that she's saying that I need to fix. But just take everything that we say with a pinch of salt. When we're saying it to you, we're also saying it to ourselves. We're all learning here. All of us are in the same boat. So some of us are just better at other things than some things than other people. I hear no kick on that clip at all. Are you listening on your phone? Because that'll be why. And this is a really good point, actually. So thank you, President Puma. Most people, where do we usually listen to stuff now? On our phones. So, like in my studio now, I've got my nice Mackie studio monitors. And I can hear everything perfectly. But I'm not always in here. I'm not always listening to music in this studio. It depends, President Puma. It really depends. It depends on your phone, and it also depends on what frequency the kick is. So it's not that you should. A lot of the time you won't. If you listen to techno on a phone, you're going to miss so much. But no, you shouldn't. But as producers, we do need to take this into consideration. So if you've got tracks that are going on Spotify, for example, a lot of people now will have a mix or a version for Spotify, which will keep to those kind of frequency limitations. So, yeah, same with hardstyle. You can miss a lot of frequencies on the phone. You can. I mean, sub should never be heard anyway. Sub should always be felt. And you're not going to hear sub on a phone. It's just not going to happen. Well, being a musician since 3 years old, I think I know what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. That's brilliant. But I disagree. I do disagree. You're not going to hear you're not going to hear those frequencies until phone manufacturers find a way to make a speaker in a mobile phone sound that good. And that's not going to happen. All you could do is plug in some headphones and you'd probably hear it. But if we all started making music just to suit phones, it's not going to sound very good. So I disagree. Get some Samsung Pro Buds. Yes. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's always best when you're going to listen to music on this kind of show, or you know, something that you're giving some advice on. Put some headphones on, listen in a studio environment if you've got a studio, or listen in the car. But trying to listen through a phone, like with all due respect, President Puma, being a musician since 3 years old, you should probably know that you know, you shouldn't be listening to music on a phone and expecting to hear it all. So I ate Murder When I was 3 as well. Short Circuit DJ says he sent those 2 tracks over. Brilliant, thank you. I will get to those as soon as I've got through the backlog of tracks as well, because I've got quite a few to get through. But yeah, thank you guys. This has been a really nice stream. We're not even at 2022 yet, or 2222, whatever it is. But I'm really glad that I came on for a bit. I'm still so tired. But I will be back on... It is, isn't it? Oh, no, it's 21:33 here. But yeah, it's been really good fun. I've really enjoyed it, and... just remember, it is okay to disagree, and it's okay to question people's methods, and also I invite you, who was it who said about the phone thing? President Puma, I invite you to go just do a bit of research on that. You know, go and do a bit of research on phones, what the frequency band is, or frequency spectrum is of a phone, your maybe brand of phone, and see how that transpires into music. You know, that can be usually heard in a nightclub or on a good set of speakers, and I think it would help you a lot to recognise that. So, but yeah, don't be offended that I disagreed with you in any way. It's just an important thing to then go and discover maybe why you might be wrong, and be okay with that. I'm wrong a lot. I'm wrong quite a lot of the time. And that's good because it shows that I've still got areas where I can learn something. The last thing you want to do is know it all. Never be a know-it-all. It's not worth it because you can't know it all. And if you did, then what would be the point in learning? It'd be quite sad. So yeah, thank you everybody. I'm going to find someone to raid. Audacious Titan says, I mentioned hardstyle earlier because kicks can sound very different on a phone because you lose some of the sound, especially with the punchy kicks. Yeah, absolutely. Some genres, it's not that obvious. So like a lot of the EDM stuff, it's actually built around a lot of the time the way that people consume music, which, you know, you will be able to hear it on a phone, but for dance music that's mainly listened to in a nightclub, like hard dance music, you're going to need to have those bass frequencies because it's how it moves you on that dance floor. The sub is extremely important. Very, very important. So, right, we're going to go to DJ Mixie. So if you're not already following DJ Mixie, please give him a follow. He's amazing. He's a really, really cool guy. And yeah, never ever stop learning. Exactly. And that's what we're here for, is to help each other. We don't need to have egos about any of this. You know, don't be offended if I pick up on something that might not be right, or, you know, I won't be offended if you're picking up on something that I'm getting wrong. It's okay. But, you know, being a musician since 3 years old, this is the point. You can come into some big belief systems that might not necessarily be correct. And, you know, then you can go your whole life thinking that could be true. When it might not be. It's us ones that have been doing it for a long time that usually the other ones we need to be a bit more self-reflective and think, oh, maybe that might be something that I should look at. Or not. It's up to you. But yeah, I only came here to be offended. Yay! Well, fuck you then. Yay! Right, let's go and see Mixie. I'm working on my little mockumentary that I'm doing at the moment, which is, it's called Have You Turned It Off? Have you tried turning it off and on again? It's really good. Well, it's really shit, but that makes it really good. So I'm going to carry on editing that, and you can see a version of it tomorrow, probably. All right? Yay! Thank you so much, guys. This has been so much fun. Let's go and watch Mixie now. And yeah, I'll see you on Thursday, probably. Mwah! Love you loads.